Well, now I am going to discuss with you what your syllabus is for grammar for 10th standard, that is board exam. Okay? This is high school. The end of high school is 10th standard board exam, and I am going to discuss with you what you are going to have and categorize everything. I am going to write on the board. You please note it down, and we have 25 marks for your grammar and composition portion, and we are going to be thorough with that. Okay? The way you follow up with all the work, you are going to be thorough with it, and definitely you are going to get 25 marks. Take down, I will take, this is the syllabus. Syllabus for CBSE class 10. I have already discussed with you all the basics before we get into this syllabus. I have already discussed with you all the basics, and now it will be easier for you to follow up on this. Okay, first we have, this will come under section B. Section B, grammar and writing. Writing and grammar. Okay. And altogether this carries 25 marks. Now, how this 25 marks is split up, we are going to see now. This will be question number 3. Diary writing, or article writing. You may have a choice. Article writing in about 100 to 120 words. (100 to 120 words). Okay, and this carries 5 marks. This carries 5 marks. Next one, writing a short story based on the outline given. This will be question number 4. Story writing based on outlines. And how many words is that? 150 to 200 words. And this will be 10 marks. Okay, and then you have grammar. This is a syllabus for both 9th and 10th. Okay, standard 9 and 10 follow the same syllabus. This is a high school grammar syllabus. Okay. Next one, grammar syllabus will include the first one. this you may have transformation of sentences or fill in the blanks or any way they may ask you, and this is the syllabus for this. Tenses, okay, and the second one is modal auxiliaries. In this you have a few only, that is you have must, you have to specifically be thorough with this. Must, should, need, ought to, and the negative forms. That is must not, should not, need not, ought not, all these are negative forms. Okay? We can learn it through fill in the blanks and all that. These we have altogether auxiliaries, we have 24 anomalous finites, out of which primary auxiliaries are 11 and modals are 9 and quasi-modals are 4, and out of which we should concentrate mainly on must, should, need, ought to and the negative forms. But you should know all the modal auxiliaries. Next one, use of passive voice. Okay, then the next one, subject verb concord. Next one, reporting. Reporting means direct to indirect speech. We have here commands and requests, statements and questions. What are commands and requests? What sentences are they? They are imperative sentences. And then statements and questions, declarative sentence and interrogative sentence. All these we have to learn under reporting. Reporting means direct to indirect speech. Next we have clauses. Under clauses we have noun clause, adverb clause and relative clauses. Noun clause, adverb clause, that too specially adverb clause of condition and time. And we have relative clauses. So, all this we have to be sure in clauses. Actually, we have another clause also, adjective clause, but we are not focusing for your 9th and 10th syllabus. Next one. We have determiners, and the next one is prepositions. Okay. So, this exactly is a grammar portion. All these will come under writing, written composition work. Next we have gap filling with one or two words, gap filling. Using prepositions, articles, conjunctions and tenses. Okay. Prepositions, conjunctions and articles and tenses. Gap fillers means it is like fill in the blanks. Okay, now this part alone, it carries, this grammar part carries 10 marks. Okay, this carries 10 marks and this gap fillers carries 3 marks. Next we have editing and omission. Editing and omission, that is, a passage will be given, you will have to edit that passage and we will teach you how to do it, and certain places some words will be missing, it will be omitted, you have to fill in the right words. So, editing and omission, it carries 4 marks. And the last one is sentence reordering or transformation of sentences. Transformation of sentences. This carries 5 marks. Just check it up. 15. This carries only 3 marks. 3 plus 3 6 plus 4 10 20 25. This is your 9th and 10th syllabus for grammar and writing work, and you are going to be thorough with this. See, the rest is in your hands. Like literature, you have to learn, you have to understand the poems and lessons and you have to learn. Whereas this is a set pattern where you can work out all, it's like mathematics. If you are thorough with your foundation in grammar, easily these 25 marks are in your hand, and every mark counts for your higher studies, isn't it? So, be very cautious as to how you work out on this, and that is why I am here to help you out. The next main chapter is tenses. This is very important throughout your studies, your schooling and college. You have to be very careful about the usage of tenses. But before you learn to use it, you should know how many there are. Each time we ask a student, they will say 3, 4, 5, 6 and some number, fancy number. But there are altogether 12 tenses and 3 main tenses, and these 3 are divided further into 4, that is 3 4s are 12. Okay, shall we see what those tenses are? Okay, what is the tense? Any form of verb that is used to indicate the time of an action or state shows the tense of the verb. The tenses refer to present, past or future time. I repeat again, any form of a verb that is used to indicate the time of an action or state, shows the tense of the verb. And how many tenses are there? There are 3 tenses, 3 main tenses, which are further divided into 4 each. Shall we see? Okay. Verb tenses. Okay. Now what is a verb? A verb is an action word, a word which denotes action. Okay. Now tense is a word, it is a verb. Okay. Tense is a verb which shows time, action and state. Okay. Now that is what we are going to learn now. Tenses, there are 3 main tenses: past, past tense, present tense, and what is the next one? Future tense. Okay. If you see, these are further divided into 4 each. Simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and past perfect continuous. Okay, simple past, if I say, if we take the word sing, sang. Okay, past continuous, was singing. Past perfect, has sung. And past perfect continuous, has been singing. we will say had sung, I am sorry, this should be had sung, had been singing. Okay, this is past tense. Okay, the tense, past tense is something, it is a verb which denotes a past action. Okay, simple past is simple, just simple, without any continuity or anything. It happened, that is it, an action that had already happened, we call it the simple past. Then past continuous is was singing, the action was continuing and it did not come to an end, it was continuing. Past perfect is had sung, somebody has done an action. Okay. Past perfect continuous is had been singing, the action had been going on for some time. She had been singing for nearly 3 hours, if we say. Okay, now shall we put it into sentences? Sita sang a melodious song yesterday. So, yesterday is past tense, isn't it? It's past. So, Sita sang a beautiful song or a melodious song yesterday at the concert. Past continuous. The students were singing so sweetly at the assembly hall. Next one, past perfect. The choir had sung a beautiful or a very wonderful song or a melodious song at the concert last year. Past perfect continuous. When John entered the church, the choir had been singing for nearly 3 hours. Okay? So, the action was continuing when another past action took place. So, this is the example of past tense and we have 4 each. See 1, 2, 3, 4. Same way present tense also we have 4. Okay. Now, same way simple present. Simple present. Simple present, same word we will take, okay, so that you will know the difference. Sings. Example, sings. She sings a sweet song. Okay, the bird sings a sweet song or nightingale sings a melodious song. Next one, present continuous. Present continuous, the action is taking place now. It's happening now and it hasn't ended. So, what shall we say? Is singing. We can also say are singing. This is singing is singular and are singing is plural. Next one, present perfect. Present perfect is has been singing. See, here past perfect is had sung and has sung. I am really sorry. This is present perfect is has sung and present perfect continuous is has been singing. Okay, shall we see sentences here? Simple present tense. The nightingale sings a melodious song. We use simple I am going to give you the usage of each and every tense in detail. Where all we use simple present tense, where all we use continuous tense and all that. Okay. Okay. Now this action is happening now. The nightingale sings a beautiful song. We also use simple present for a habitual action. The earth rotates round the sun. It's a habitual action. It is, we cannot say the earth rotated. It is always the same thing. That is the universal fact we say. Okay. Or the sun is a big ball of fire. Is we say. Same way the earth rotates round the sun. Rotates. It's a verb. Okay. Simple present. Now present continuous. The birds are singing on top of the tree. Are singing, or the bird is singing. It is still, the action is still going on. It hasn't come to an end. Present perfect. She has sung a beautiful song at the concert. That is, she has sung. Has sung in the sense, we do not know whether, if it had been past action, we will say she had sung, but because it is a present perfect tense, we use has sung. And present perfect continuous has been, continuous is has been singing. She has been singing, or they have been singing for nearly 12 hours now, or they have been talking for nearly 12 hours. Okay. So the action is still continuing and it has started quite a time, a few hours back. The same way future tense also, we have all this. Okay. That is simple future, then we have future continuous, then we have future perfect, and future perfect continuous. This many of us do not use. Okay, future perfect continuous we do not use in Okay, shall we see the examples now? Simple future, shall sing. For simple future we always use shall sing. She shall sing for the concert tomorrow. So, whenever we talk about an action that is going to happen in the future, that is, we use the future tense. Simple future we say shall sing. Future continuous, she shall be singing. Okay. They shall be singing the national anthem when the movie comes to an end. Shall be singing. This is future continuous. Now future perfect, shall have sung. Shall have sung. These two tenses we do not normally use. So, it looks very funny to use it, okay, because we do not normally use these tenses. Future perfect continuous, shall have been singing. Okay. Now see, you have learnt all the 12 tenses. We have here past tense, simple past, past continuous, past perfect and past perfect continuous. Then present tense we have simple present, present continuous, present perfect and present perfect continuous. And future tense we have simple future, future continuous, future perfect and future perfect continuous. So you have learnt, you have mastered now all the 12 tenses. Now I am going to choose the most important ones for your syllabus and I am going to teach you in detail. So are you sure of all these 12 now? Don't you ever say, somebody asks you how many tenses are there, don't say 8 or don't say 9. You have 12 tenses altogether and they have the 3 basic tenses, the past, present and the future. Okay, I just explained to you the 12 different tenses. Now we are going to study in detail so that you know how to frame sentences using these tenses or fill in the gaps, that is gap fillers, like I have already discussed with you the question pattern or the syllabus, and now we are going to go ahead with that. Okay. So I am going to teach you how to fill in the gaps for tenses. Now if you see past tense, I already told you it is a verb of an action that has taken place earlier. Okay. So I am going to give you some examples. Fill in the, I will give you 5 examples for each tense. Now first is past, simple past. Okay. Fill in the blanks using simple past tense. Five marks. First one, Shakespeare dash many plays, tragedies, comedies and historical plays. Second one, while Next one. India dash in 1947. Its freedom in 1947. The choir dash a wonderful song last week in the church. The parents dash the fees for the first term and the parents dash the fees for the first term and dash out of the counter. How many blanks do you have? I'll give you 10. Okay. Shall we discuss this now? We have 8 blanks here. I've given you 6 sentences and 8 blanks using simple past tense. Shakespeare dash many plays. How can he, what else can you write but wrote many plays, tragedies, comedies and historical plays. While watching TV serial, my grandmother cried, or you can even say laughed. Usually they watch the TV serial and they become so emotional and they start crying. Okay. When I dash the hall, everybody dash up. When I entered the hall, everybody stood up. India got its freedom in 1947. All these are past actions. The choir sang a wonderful song last week in the church. The parents paid the fees for the first term and went out of the counter. Now let's read all the sentences. Shakespeare wrote many plays, tragedies, comedies and historical plays. Okay. Next one. While watching TV serial, watching the TV serial, right? Watching the TV serial, my grandmother cried. The plays, okay, here's tragedies. Okay. While watching the TV serial, my grandmother cried. When I entered the hall, everybody stood up. India got its freedom in 1947. The choir sang a wonderful song last week in the church, and the parents paid the fees for the first term and went out of the counter. So, I am sure you have understood the concept what simple past tense is. Now, we will move on to the next tense. Next, we move on to past continuous tense. Past continuous okay. Now, what is this past continuous tense? The past continuous tense is used to express an action or a state which occurred in the past and continued for some time. It is often used with while or when. For example, it was raining last night when I looked out. Okay. So, while, when, these are the clue words for past continuous. I will give you some sentences. Fill in the gaps with past continuous tense. First one. The current went out while I tea. Next one. When Raji on the phone somebody entered. Next one. While the movie okay, we ate popcorn or we had popcorn. Next one. Harish met Deepa while from Delhi to Mumbai. Okay. The next sentence. Okay. The match, when they dash the match, he broke his leg. Okay. Now I have given you 5 sentences. You are going to fill up the gaps with past continuous tense. Shall we do it now? Okay. The current went out while I was having tea or drinking tea. Okay. Was having. Next one. When Raji was talking on the phone, somebody entered. Next one. While they were watching the movie, we ate popcorn. Okay. Harish met Deepa while he was traveling from Delhi to Mumbai. Next one. When they were playing the match, he broke his leg. Maybe cricketers or soccer players. Now shall we read out again? The current went out while I was having tea. When Raji was talking on the phone, somebody entered. While they were watching the movie, we ate popcorn. Harish met Deepa while he was traveling from Delhi to Mumbai. When they were playing the match, he broke his leg. Now, what are the words now? Past continuous tense verbs. Was having, was talking, was traveling, were playing. Okay, now have you understood what past continuous tenses are? Okay, I am sure you will not make any mistakes while writing or filling in gaps. Next we are going to do past perfect tense. So we have done so far past simple past, past continuous. Now we are going to do past continuous tense. Okay. Past perfect tense. This tense is used to refer to an event to the past which has already happened before another event, also in the past. In other words, the two events take place in the past, one earlier and the other later. And this is when we use the past perfect tense. Okay? Past perfect tense is used when two events have happened, one and the other one earlier to that. Okay? That is when we use the past perfect tense. For example, I will give you an example now and then we will go on to the sentences. The shops had already closed. The shops had already closed by the time I reached the market. By the time I reached there, okay, I will just say there, okay, by the time I reach there. Now, had already closed is the past perfect tense. Reached is the past tense, simple past tense. So, in past perfect tense, we will have we may have one simple past tense, but definitely a past perfect tense. Okay. So, two events have already happened. See, the shops had already closed by the time I reached there. So, I reached there is a past tense and the shops had already closed is a past perfect tense. I will give you one more example and then we will go on to the exercise. She had discussed the matter with her friends before she spoke to her father. Okay. Spoke is a simple past tense, but had discussed is a past perfect tense. So, if you see here in both the sentences, what is the common word used here? Had. Okay. So, we always have had plus a past tense, simple past tense. Had plus a simple past tense. Okay. Now, the earlier event is expressed in past perfect while the latter event is expressed in simple past. Okay. Here by the time the shops had already closed by the time I reached there or reached a school or market. Here also she had discussed the matter with her friends before she spoke to her father. Before she spoke to her father, she had already discussed the matter. So, if you see here we have a simple past tense and the perfect tense here, past perfect. Okay, have you understood the concept now? Shall I give you some more sentences? I will give you a few more sentences and then we will go ahead with the next sentence. Fill in with past perfect tense. First one, when we got home last night, when we got home last night, we found that somebody the second one, the house was very quiet. The children dash to sleep. He could not recognize her because he seen her before. The engineer opened up the machine after he okay. Next one. Last year we visited Venice, but we dash Paris. Next one. By the time we arrived at the party, Sabrina okay. Sundar the money before paying his fees. When we visited our village, after 10 years, we found that everything dash. Okay, now I have given you 8 sentences and we are going to fill in with the past perfect tense. Shall we go through it? When we got home last night, got home is past tense, we found that somebody had broken the door. Had broken the door, that is past participle. Next one. The house was very quiet when I reached home. The children had gone to sleep. Had gone to sleep. He could not recognize her because he hadn't seen her before, or hadn't seen her before. Had not or hadn't, okay. The engineer opened up the machine after he had carefully examined it. After he had carefully examined it. Last year we visited Venice, but we could not visit Paris. Could not or did not? We did not visit Paris. By the time we arrived at the party, Sabrina had already left. Had already left. Okay, next one. Sundar had spent all Sundar had spent all the money before paying his fees. When we visited our village after 10 years, we found that everything had changed. Okay, now we will go through the sentences again. In these sentences, you will have one past tense and you will have a perfect tense. Okay, always for a perfect tense, you will have either a simple past tense or a past continuous tense along with that, and that is why we have learnt those two beforehand. Okay, when we got home last night, we found that somebody had broken the door, that is past perfect tense. The house was very quiet when I reached home. The children had gone to sleep. He could not recognize her because he hadn't seen her before. Hadn't seen both together make the past perfect tense. Okay, next one. The engineer opened up the machine after he had carefully examined it. Last year we visited Venice, but we here we had not, it should be, okay, we had not visited Paris. Okay, last year we visited Venice, but we had not visited Paris. Had not is a past perfect tense. By the time we arrived at the party, Sabrina had already left. Sundar had spent all the money before paying his fees. When we visited our village after 10 years, we found that everything had changed. Now, you know how to use the past perfect tense and how there are two occurrences of the past and one is perfect and one is simple past. Okay, shall we go on to the next one? Now, we are going to move on to the next past tense, that is past perfect continuous tense. The past perfect continuous tense is the tense when it is used for an action which had begun before the time of speaking in the past and continued up to that time. Okay, I repeat, the past perfect continuous tense is that which is denoted for actions begun before at the time of speaking and that is time of speaking in the past and continued up to that time. Example, he came home after midnight. Because he had been attending a friend's wedding. Okay, now which is the past perfect continuous tense? He had been attending. Okay, the past perfect tense is had attended, it will be. Now, if you see continuous tense is always ing word. Okay, so he had been attending. Now, if you see, you will have the perfect tense had, then been and the ing word, okay, for past perfect continuous tense. One more example I will give you and then I will give you the sentences. Naresh had been working hard to score high marks in his exams. Okay, do you understand now? Now, which is the past perfect continuous tense? Had been working. Okay, have you understood now? You have had and after had you will always have been, B-E-E-N and then an ing form of a verb. Is that clear? So, that is past perfect continuous tense. I am going to give you fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks with always when you work out grammar is like mathematics. Only when you keep working it out you will get the practice, okay. That is why I make it a point to give you an exercise for each and every item that you study. Past perfect continuous tense. take your notebooks and take down the sentences. We were exhausted at the end of the journey as we had been I'm sorry, I'm not going to give you the answer, as we dash the whole day. We are going to fill it up later. Second one. The teacher punished Arvind as he dash in the class test. Okay, next one. I looked at her face and it seemed that okay, next one. The boys came in with torn clothes. It looked as though they okay. She for the interview. For nearly a month. Okay, I have given you 5 sentences. Let's see whether you are able to work them out. And what are we going to fill in with? The past perfect continuous tense. We were exhausted at the end of the journey as we had been traveling. Had been traveling. The whole day. Had been traveling the whole day. See, you have here had and been and a continuous tense, ing word. The teacher punished Arvind as he had been copying. Had been copying in the class tests. Had plus been and the ing form of the verb. I looked at her face and it seemed that she had been crying. She had been crying. She had plus been plus ing form of the verb crying. The boys came in with torn clothes. It looked as though they had been fighting. It looked as though they had been fighting. Had, been and the ing form of the verb. She dashed for the interview for nearly a month. She had been preparing. She had been preparing for the interview for nearly a month. Had plus been plus ing form of prepare, that is preparing. Now let's check it up. We were exhausted at the end of the journey as we had been travelling the whole day. The teacher punished Arvind as he had been copying in the class tests. I looked at her face and it seemed that she had been crying. The boys came in with torn clothes. It looked as though they had been fighting. She had been preparing for the interview for nearly a month. Now, I am very sure you are thorough with this past perfect continuous tense. If you have any doubt, you check it up, and towards the end of all the tenses I am going to give you a test, but with this we end the past tense. Okay, that is I told you there are three main tenses. One is a past, next is the present and the next is the future. Past is something which is gone by, present is what is happening now, and future is what's going to happen. So, with all the past actions we had four different tenses: simple past, past continuous, past perfect and past perfect continuous. Are you thorough with this now? And same way we are going to move on to the next few tenses.